The True History of the Hare and the Tortoise. For a long time there was doubt with acrimony among the beasts as to whether the hare or the tortoise could run the swifter. Some said the hare was the swifter of the two because he had such long ears, and others said the tortoise was the swifter because anyone whose shell was so hard as that should be able to run hard too. And lo, the forces of estrangement and disorder perpetually postponed a decisive contest. But then there was nearly war among the beasts. At last, an arrangement was to come, and it was decided that the hare and the tortoise should run a race of 500 yards so that all should see who was right. Ridiculous, nonsense, said the hare, and it was all of his backers could do to get him to run. The contest is most welcome to me, said the tortoise. I shall not shirk it. Oh, how his backers cheered. Feeling ran high on the day of the race. The goose rushed at the fox and nearly pecked him. Both sides spoke loudly of the approaching victory up to the very moment of the race. I am absolutely confident of success, said the tortoise. But the hare said nothing. Do we have to start over?
No, not from the beginning. When I dropped the phone, I said shit.
Yeah, I know. I am absolutely confident of success, said the tortoise. But the hare said nothing. He looked bored and cross. Some of his supporters deserted him then and went to the other side, who were loudly cheering the tortoise's inspiriting words. But many remained with the hare. We shall not be disappointed in him, they said. A beast with such long ears is bound to win. Run hard, said the supporters of the tortoise. And run hard became a kind of catchphrase with everybody repeated to one another. Hard shell and hard living. That's what the country wants. Run hard, they said. And these words were never uttered, but multitudes cheered from their hearts. Then they were off, and suddenly there was a hush. The hare dashed off for about 100 yards. Then he looked round to see where his rival was. It is rather absurd, he said, to race with the tortoise. And he sat down and scratched himself. Run hard, shouted some. Let him rest, shouted others, and let him rest became a catchphrase too. And after a while his rival drew near to him. There comes that damned tortoise, said the hare, and he got up and ran as hard as he could so that he should not let the tortoise beat him. Those ears will win, said his friends. Those ears will win, and establish upon an incontestable footing the truth of what we have said. And some of them turned to the backers of the tortoise and said, What about your beast now? Run hard, they replied. Run hard. The hare ran on for nearly 300 meters, nearly in fact as far as the winning post, when it suddenly struck him what a fool he looked running races with a tortoise who was nowhere in sight, and he sat down again and scratched. Run hard, said the crowd, and let him rest. Whatever is the use of it, said the hare, and this time he stopped for good. Some say he slept. There was desperate excitement for an hour or two, and then the tortoise won. Run hard, shouted his backers. Hard shell and hard living. That's what he has done it. And then they asked the tortoise what his achievement signified, and he went on and asked the turtle. And the turtle said, It is a glorious victory for the forces of swiftness. And then the tortoise repeated it to his friends. And all the beasts said nothing else for years, and even to this day, a glorious victory for the forces of swiftness is a catchphrase in the house of the snail. And the reason that this version of the race is not widely known is that very few of those that witnessed it survived the great forest fire that happened shortly after. It came up over the weald by night with a great wind. The hare and the tortoise and a very few of the beasts saw it from a far, high, bare hill that was at the edge of the trees, and they hurriedly called a meeting to decide what messenger they should send to warn the beasts of the forest. They sent the tortoise. The end.